GR. I'm about to get started. I normally have my music in the background. Well, welcome everybody. We're going to have a pretty brilliant space today. Please do me a solid. We're not going to stop this recording, by the way. We're just going to keep it going. So please do me a solid, like and retweet this. Hey, Bitcoin Ape. Yes, I see my special guest who has just arrived. BitTogether. This is going to be pretty exciting. So I will definitely make you speaker. As I'm waiting for people to roll in here, please like and retweet this and we shall get started. Hey, this will be recorded and this will end up on the YouTube. So this is going to be pretty fantastic. So let me just kind of get it started and see where we're at. We're going to get this posted in the back rooms in the Discord. And let's see who is out there, people. Let's roll on in here and give some support to the ecosystem of Bitcoin. Now, I normally have my music going, but my DJ, looks like my DJ is stalling out on me this morning. So why don't I just get to the universal greeting? That is what I will do. So you know how I do it. Beijing. Hey, that's a ni hao, Beijing. How you doing this morning? London, hello, top of the morning to you. Los Angeles, hey. Yeah, it's just hey. Paris, bonjour. Lisbon, hola. Hong Kong, hello. Sweden, hey. HEJ, that's right. And Toronto, good day, eh? Tokyo, konnichiwa. Yeah, konnichiwa. My name is Trudy Art. This is the Universe Wallet, Indexer, Explorer, Minting, and Marketplace, all on tapwallet.io. Hey, do me a solid. Can you post this in your TGs for me? And retweet this. And let's just get some more folks in here. And I have to just get into the back rooms of the Discord, like I said, and also get this posted. But let me finish telling you what the Universe Wallet does. The Universe Wallet unleashes Bitcoin's full potential. Yeah, Bitcoin has potential. I know you're looking at the price, but don't pay attention to that. Look at the journey. Look at what it's here for. It's the freedom technology. It's here for us, people. So it does unleash Bitcoin's full potential, making the Universe Wallet your all-in-one solution to manage all your assets. Where? In one place. You have full support for TAP, DMT, UNAT, runes, BRC20s, which we'll be talking about. There's got to be some more BRC20 folks out there, so come in here. LRC20, Lambda, SRC20, Stamp. Yeah, we had a great Stamp conversation yesterday. Dust 20 and more. And on Tuesdays, people, we have the FAM cookout. That means all of the protocols kind of get together and we kind of shill and share what's out there because we're losing our soul, people. You know what I mean by that. So listen, before we get started, I'm talking really fast. Yeah, I'm talking very fast here. Before we get started, this is just a helpful reminder. This is not financial advice. Please do your own research. That is right. You got to do your own research. Then I have another question. I got it all queued up, so listen to this. Yes, do you have your water ready? You're going to need your water because you have to stay hydrated. That is correct, okay? I'm not your mom, but you do need to stay hydrated. Do you have your blood pressure monitor? You will need one in Bitcoin. Let's take a price at Bitcoin this morning and see what it is. Yeah, let's take a little look-see here. You know what? Bitcoin's not doing too bad, people. It's like 97,945.43 USD. I mean, you can't go wrong with that. Like, where was it a year ago? So Bitcoin's doing pretty well. Don't worry about it. Just keep stacking sats. Keep going out there hunting and finding out what are the good protocols to start stacking some sats in. What are the tools that are out there? And today we're going to be jumping into that. Before we do, I do want to share something that is happening right now. Yes, right now in the universe. There's a little bit of a sale going on. There's a pre-sale that I want to talk about. And let's just take a look at that pre-sale. So listen, go over to tapwallet.io. And that's what I'm doing right now. Go to tapwallet.io. And I should mention, Tap has been around, tapwallet.io, the universe, has been around since March of 2024. So next month will be its 1-year anniversary. And with the 1-year anniversary, there should be some fun stuff happening. Let's take a look at what they're doing today. Now they have another IDO that is happening. Okay, another IDO, yes. So if you go over to tools and you click presale, click BRC20, yes, BRC20, you're going to see a presale happening. And that is for another symbol. Yeah, another symbol. The presale allocates 100% of the total BRC20 token supply. Distribution will be completed within 72 hours after the presale concludes. It just started, and we see that there are people jumping into this. There are actually 4 pages of people that have kind of jumped into this. They've already raised about 0.01 BTC. There's 7 days, 2 hours, 51 minutes, and 20 seconds 20 seconds left for the sale. Okay, so your total position will be 0.001 BTC, which is currently equivalent to 4.97% of the total supply. You can pay with BTC. Oh boy, you can pay with Sol. You can also pay with Sol. So I see people getting in there. This is pretty exciting. Yeah, there's about 4 pages already of people that have gotten into this sale. So this looks kind of popular. Good for it. So take a look at that. Let us get some more people in here. Thanks for coming in here. Hey, if you just got in here, we're going to have a great conversation with a Bitcoin dev. Please do us a solid. Like and retweet this. Let's get some more people in here. Why not? Let's support each other, and we can get it started. What else do I want to talk about before we get into here, people? I got to do a little bit of shilling. I talked about the universe being a all-in-one solution for Bitcoin, and they are trying to keep the momentum moving. So they are doing airdrops. Why would they do airdrops? Well, you know, people like free stuff. They do. So if you want to become a part of those airdrops, please do yourself a solid and go to the top of the page. Make sure you sign up for the Discord. Why would you want to do that? Because in the back rooms of that Discord, you can actually increase your multipliers on those airdrops. Yeah, you can. First 20, 5x. First 50, 2x. And you know what? One more plug before I get started. This is shameless, isn't it? Yeah, it is. Okay, but I'm doing it. One more thing that you can do is when you go to the universe, tapwallet.io, click register, go to universe names, pick a name for your universe wallet. Yeah, any name you want. My name is TrueDArt. I think I mentioned that. And you can just plug in your name, link your address, register, nominal fee, and then you can go over to tools, chat, and welcome. Yeah, welcome to the Bitcoin on-chain messenger. That is correct. You can start chatting with me. You can say, hey, TrueDArt, I think that you are just so quirky. You are so awesome. Please send me a note today and tell me that. I will love that. Okay, let me stop. Okay, so here we're going to get started. Okay, so BitTogether, OMG. Let me just tell you a little bit about BitTogether. Using virtual private mempools to lower fees, protect privacy, and mitigate MEV. BitTogether is dedicated to protecting users and saving Satoshis. Oh my goodness, we got to learn more about that. And what else do we need to tell you? 3 key adjectives here to describe BitTogether: bullish, innovative, and critical. Yes, those are the adjectives, people. So I always like to find out a little bit more about people's backstory. So that's where I'm going to start. And then we might even share how I kind of might have met them in a past life. So that is very interesting. BitTogether, are you here?
Hey, what's up, Trudy? I'm here. How are you doing today?
Oh my gosh, you are here. This is our first time talking. The
Yeah.
first time that we've kind of met on the Twitter X space. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing good. Doing good. Having a good time in the hotel here, traveling a little bit.
Okay. Hey, before we get started, I always like to know a little bit about the backstory. Can you tell us how you found your way into crypto and then you found yourself ultimately on Bitcoin, and then we can kind of walk into what you're currently doing?
Yeah, sure. I got into Bitcoin, running Bitcoin nodes, uh, probably back. Oh, I'd say it had to be 20. I was always into Bitcoin, but I sold my Bitcoin back 2015, and oh, I rebought at like 9K and then sold again at 61K and have been doing Bitcoin for a while. But the part that I really enjoy is running Bitcoin nodes. That way you can support the network and do all sorts of cool stuff as a developer without having to rely on somebody else's service, somebody else's node. That's what it's all about, cutting out the middlemen.
Why Bitcoin specific? I mean, you came there, but can you just kind of maybe share a little bit about the why? There's many different people that kind of come to Bitcoin, and some come because they are developers, they speak that language, they understand it, and some come because they're libertarians and they look at the governments and what they're doing, and then they kind of want to have a ticket for the future that will help them to fight off inflation. Is there any kind of reason why Bitcoin means something to you?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think Bitcoin is the kind of the first and the best. It doesn't happen often. Usually we say the first is the worst. Somebody comes in with a version of something that, the prototype usually doesn't work well. And with Bitcoin, it was the opposite. The first one is kind of the best one. I'm definitely critical of the governments having control of the money. I think like all of us in Bitcoin are, but you could use that to justify getting into any cryptocurrency. Bitcoin specifically is a lot lighter. uh, the blocks are only 4 megabytes. You can run a Bitcoin node on an old laptop. It's pretty easy to run Bitcoin, no matter who you are or where you are on the earth, even if you don't have a good internet connection. So that's why to look at it from an analyst point of view, I think it's got the best chance to free people from fiat and make the world a better place.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I mean, for those of you that are just arriving to Bitcoin and thinking, well, the price, you heard, BitTogether say you initially bought, what was your initial price for Bitcoin?
Oh, it was in the hundreds the first time I bought.
Yeah, so there's many entry levels, but you kept coming back, and there's obviously a reason why you kept coming back. I also want to mention, just for some people that might feel a little bit intimidated by all of the development stuff, don't feel intimidated by that, people. Developer language is it's a language. It's kind of like learning Spanish. It's kind of like learning any language, really. So don't, because a lot of times people feel like, well, that's way over my head. I know that when I was getting into Bitcoin, I thought it was money. Then when I came in the space, I thought, no, it's something completely different. It's all dev speak, and I don't get it. But if you if you can understand that it's just uh, like all of the coding stuff, it's just a different language, and as soon as you learn that language, then you can start to really understand, what's what's behind the mechanism of Bitcoin. Today, we're going to talk about OPCAT. So you might be asking, okay, what is OPCAT? It's an operation code or opcode. It's a basic command of some computer languages, Bitcoin scripting language called script, and it has its own set of opcodes. Each opcode is numbered and performs as a limited predicted function. That sounds like yada yada, but we're going to kind of get into the discussion of it. Where do you want to take us first in this whole discussion?
Oh wow. We can go into OPCAT if you want to in Bitcoin soft forks. If that's where you're wanting to lean.
Yeah, I do a little bit because I kind of shared that that's where we're going to kind of go into that and explore that. And then we kind of want to head into your project and talk a little bit more about that and how that will kind of provide some fun and I don't know, just something new for the space. So kind of really take us where you want to go, and then I'll pull some questions out of wherever you lead us.
Sure. OPCAT and CTV are the hot current events in Bitcoin right now. The last soft fork that Bitcoin had, the last major update, was Taproot. And that allowed you to do a lot of cool things with Bitcoin that you couldn't do before and enabled a lot of privacy features and other things. So the next update that they're debating is whether they want to do OPCAT or CTV, these different candidates for updating Bitcoin. Some people don't like it because they think it'll make Bitcoin too much like Ethereum. Once it's more programmable and you're able to do all these different things on Bitcoin you couldn't do before, like covenants and other use cases. So yeah, it's interesting to see which soft fork is going to win.
Why are they considering these different forks to Bitcoin? Can you kind of give us some of the insight into that? Because again, I'm always I'm always thinking for multiple minds here. There are people that haven't been here and they're thinking, well, it's Bitcoin. Why do we need to make it better? Why are there changes being made?
Sure, yeah, you always want to upgrade, to add new features. Eventually, we're going to have a quantum upgrade because quantum computers might make parts of Bitcoin less secure than we feel comfortable with. These updates specifically, a big thing people are pushing for is covenants. And so, the for a while there, whenever you would use Bitcoin, you'd pay a high fee in mempool. There was a time where, thanks to BRC20 and some other meta protocols, that the fees in mempool were higher than usual. So one of the cool things you can do with OPCAT or CTV is you can do UTXO sharing, which
Okay.
means that you and somebody else are sharing a Bitcoin UTXO in a secure way. And long story short, that will make the fees cheaper because you and somebody else are sharing this UTXO and moving it around together to save on fees and enable some other cool features like smart contracts. And so yeah, hopefully we'll get some lower fees, some smart contracts, and some other new features out of OPCAT or CTV, whatever soft fork they end up going with.
So what's your can maybe we can talk about the specific project then that you're doing. Can we get into that and what
Sure.
yeah, let's talk about that project.
Sure. Let me do a little bit of background before I get to that. I ran Bitcoin nodes, and then this whole NFT thing started happening. Um, and I wanted to learn about that. On Bitcoin, they had something that they called colored coins, and there was this NFT platform Counterparty on Bitcoin that did NFTs on Bitcoin. I never really got into Counterparty much, but it was just interesting that they could do this stuff. It was interesting, to a developer like me. So another thing I was into was a GameStop. I was a GameStop investor. That's how we actually met. Uh, and so they created a NFT marketplace, and we were onboarding artists and users to the marketplace, and messing with all sorts of new applications for NFTs. Proof of attendance protocols. Selling concert tickets as NFTs. All this other stuff. And so, when this revolution of all these different Bitcoin assets started, having that experience coming over from GameStop put me ahead of the game. Everybody else was catching up, and I was ready to, do some fun projects, work with some startups, and just explore all these new opportunities that Bitcoin is giving us with non-fungible assets.
You kind of mentioned that's how we met, and I said that I would have went there, but I didn't. I kind of want to go there just for a second.
Yeah.
We actually we've never met in person. We haven't even talked to each other, but we did meet on that trail, that blazing trail of GameStop. OMG, what a trail it was. And it's funny because there was just such a tight community that formed from that whole experience, and we found ourselves in ETH and Loop Exchange. So that was very interesting. And then recently, I just bumped into you, new Twitter handle for both of us. I didn't even know it was the same person, but the spirit of your tweets, I thought they were very interesting. And then it turns out that we know each other from that community. So that's just a fun little story.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, very cool. So, so you're kind of giving us a little bit of the backstory, and you're leading up now to the specific project that you're actually working in. Do you want to let's just continue to move that direction?
Yeah. The account I'm on now is BitTogether. This was a startup that for virtual private mempools. It's another way to make fees cheaper. Today, the mempool is not full at all. It's pretty much empty, and the fees are very low. So it really, it doesn't make sense to work on a L2 to lower fees while fees are so low. So one of the things that I've always been passionate about is that I think technology gets driven by gaming. I think that people start to play with the technology, and then they inadvertently learn about it, and then they can get a job in finance or whatever that might be. And I want to see the same thing for Bitcoin. So we've started. I've started working with a startup, Art Money, and we're working on a middleware software which allows you to take NFTs and all sorts of different assets from different chains and use them in a metaverse together. So it doesn't matter if you've got, an ordinal on Bitcoin, or if you've got another asset like a stamp, or you've got something that isn't on Bitcoin at all, like a loop ring NFT, something like that. And it allows you to use them all in the metaverse. It makes it easier for game developers to integrate all those at once. That's a big problem with the metaverse, integrating everything with everything else. And so that's kind of the big problem that this startup is tackling.
Oh, okay. Let me back it up a little. Did I just hear you say that you're going to be taking NFTs and putting them into the metaverse?
Yes. Yep. Any kind of gaming application, we consider it a metaverse application because we're integrating as many different NFTs on different platforms as we can at once.
Well, because we talked about that we're both from GameStop and Loopering. Have you heard about Looperlands? Was that something that you could kind of pull into that space, or am I not understanding this correctly?
Yeah, so that's what makes us a little bit different. Usually when somebody is telling you about a metaverse project, they've got a single game, or they've got a metaverse that they've invented, a 3D space that they're inviting you into. This software is a middleware, so anybody creating those types of games or any other type of game, they can integrate NFTs easily. They don't have to go through the trouble of learning all about loop ring, learning all about Solana NFTs, learning 3 different APIs to try to integrate the back end of all these different NFTs. That they can have a sort of monolith, one system they can learn, which will allow them to integrate all these different projects at once in a way that doesn't break copyright law. So IP, not breaking IP laws while you integrate the data is really tricky too. So that's a part of this big problem we're tackling.
Okay. Maybe we could talk about, one of the metaverse that a lot of people are into here on BRC20, that being Bitmap. So kind of walk me through that, the whole idea of what you're doing and how it could be relatable in the Bitmap world.
Sure. So right now, I actually forgot. Let me pin that here in the space.
Please do.
Yes, and so I've integrated the Taproot wallet. If you have a bitmap inside of your Tap wallet, you can go to this link and connect to our wallet. We did it in 2 days, so it's just
Wow.
some simple games like Snake and a maze generator. Um, but this middleware will let you use your bitmap in these games to generate the maze. That maze generated by your bitmap will always be the same. So right now it's just a simple maze, but you can imagine in a metaverse it would be a fully 3D maze. We're the middleware that's making that possible and making it easy for developers to do without having to understand everything about these different systems.
Oh my goodness. So, you've heard it here, and you just integrated the Universe wallet. That is pretty amazing. Um, Pretty fantastic that you could do that, such short notice. So, can you give us did you pin that to the top, like as far as where do we go so that we can kind of check this out and get started and taking a look at this whole metaverse experience?
Yes, yes. I think I pinned it. I'm trying to find it here now. Yes, there it is. It's pinned.
So it's
Yes.
ordiversal.netlify.app. Okay, I see here. Connect your wallet. I'm trying to do it right now. Wallet is not okay. Yeah, so I'd have to go connect my wallet and then I could kind of get in there. Really, really cool. Kind of liking that. Okay, so what do you where do you see this whole evolution then of what you're trying to do and what's happening in the space? Can I kind of get a flavor of where you see Bitcoin currently at with all these different protocols and the things that you're trying to do? Because I got to tell you right now, it seems like the space is scattered, and this to me feels like when we should be doubling down and finding out about these tools and really getting ourselves prepared,
Yeah.
because Bitcoin doesn't stay at this lull forever. You've been here long enough to know that these lulls are opportunities, but many people have kind of left.
Oh yeah, definitely. You build in darkness, and when other people are scared and they're leaving, that's a time when there's an opportunity, and when people are too bullish, that's maybe when you want to get off the boat. When other people are getting on it. So I definitely believe that, and if you've been in Bitcoin for more than one cycle, then you know how it goes. It's all doomerism, and oh, it's going to zero, and then the price will cut in half of Bitcoin, and then it'll cut in half again, and you didn't think it could cut in half again, and then it will cut in half again, and that's when you want to buy. That's not when you want to sell. And I think we're going to go through that cycle again, here probably sometime during the Trump administration. So It's exciting. I think that these new updates to Bitcoin can make it. They can make it a little more than just finance. That they can add new use cases in gaming, and it'll help kids learn about Bitcoin, and it'll help developers have more fun with the technology. I hope.
I got to ask this, okay? Like, as a developer, you're saying, you build in quiet and you build in, solitude. Um, do you, how do you feel as you see like the trends changing? Because I see sometimes developers saying, "Hey, this is what we're committing to," and because of the attention, like the attention economy in crypto now, all of a sudden they're switching and they're. Do you feel that pressure to have to kind of move with the crowds and what they're wanting? Because obviously you've got to build for what people want, or do you just kind of hunker down and stick with with what the project that you're focusing on? Because I imagine that it's really tough when you see like the attention economy just moving us around like a Solana.
Yeah, yeah, sure. Um, yeah, no, that's a really great question, especially mentioning Solana there at the end, because a lot of people did dabble in Solana and meme coins recently who were maxis the whole time. There's that pressure from the maxis or the people who, they only buy Ethereum or whatever. There's a lot of pressure to move here and move there. I think that I feel pretty vindicated with Bitcoin. Um, there was somebody who made a post that they bought Monero and other privacy coins and that it outperformed Bitcoin. But their chart starts right when Bitcoin reaches its all-time high. Like that's where they start their history. So I feel pretty good. I can't imagine investing in anything else. You know, as far as being a developer, and Solana specifically, they did Solana on Bitcoin. It was Bob Bodley did that. He did that Odin platform, and I tried it, and it was basically like Solana style trading. It was very quick, it was instant, and there were rugs. There were a lot of big rugs on there, just like Solana. So yeah, it was an authentic Solana experience. I can tell you that from trying it. But yeah, there's
Wow.
there's lots of different stuff like that going on.
Wow. So really, it sounds like you have to pick your battles, and if you're building, you got to be patient because the crowds will come back around, and there is a use case for utility, and so I kind of like that you're providing that utility. Can you tell us about anything more about the project? You even mentioned you can you pull stamps into this? These metaverses too, the stamp.
Yes, yes. So it could take any ordinal, any stamp, you know, uh, taproot assets, NAT. What is it? Something theory, digital matter theory.
DMT.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them. I can't even remember them all. And that's actually what, pushed me to have my team integrate the Bitcoin unified universe wallet, was that it has all these, and for my own project, I'd like to be able to tell people, yes, we accept that. Yes, we accept your weird niche thing that nobody else has heard about. Yeah, we can do that too. So this wallet, it put us on 8 different protocols at once. So I think it was really worthwhile, and I appreciate it. I didn't know that what they were doing over in the tap space. I know I saw Jason Sora Ventures doing a bunch of stuff over in the space, and I didn't know how that turned out. So it's cool to see what everybody built over on tap and with this wallet and the different protocols.
Yeah, I like that you said that because you brought up something else. I didn't know what was happening over there, and then I think of uh, the silos that we're kind of in it within the Bitcoin space. Like, there's so much amazing developing going on, and yet we kind of don't know. And it's interesting to me. Like, have you found that in the Bitcoin space that it's very lonely once you get into a protocol? that there's not a lot of intermingling, even though we're all on this wonderful, beautiful freedom technology.
Oh yeah, there's definitely a lot of like toxic maxi culture. My specific implementation is the way Satoshi always would have done meme coins. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of real diehards out there, but if you're going to do a metaverse, that's not going to work.
Okay.
You have to integrate everybody else's software. You have to be really open, and that's a challenge I'm trying to overcome. You want to be the kind of developer who's really skilled, and so they have strong opinions based on their experience, but you need to be really open to integrating all these other protocols if you want to make a metaverse where truly anybody can walk up with any asset that they have and make a level out of it or make a character out of it, or you bring your red ordinal and it makes your car red, or however they might interact with that metaverse. We just want to make it as easier for developers and users to do that, so we can build the metaverse. We can build something better than what we have today. We're not impressed with what they have now.
Okay, so I've got something for you, but I would like to say this. Thank you. I'm being serious. Thank you for considering all of us. Thank you for considering the end user that wants the autonomy just to go into some place without having to restrict yourself. You kind of talked about, okay, well, hey, DMT is important and bitmaps, or I mentioned bitmaps, but kind of merging everything together is really important. And um, appreciate you for doing that we can actually bring our assets in from whatever protocol that we're at. So that's pretty cool. So can you kind of like cast a vision for me? Like, where do you want this to go? You're working on this project. Like, what would you like the space of Bitcoin to look like, and involve your own project in that? So cast a vision for us. I'm like Barbara
Sure.
Walters, by the way.
Yeah, I like that. No, cast your vision. I like that. um I think people, they're kind of using the word metaverse wrong right now. The
Okay.
word metaverse, it doesn't mean a a a, a video game that you
Ah,
created, that you know what I mean. It's about integrating between different platforms and being open to all these different kinds of IP and all these different kinds of developers sharing and being open with each other. There's so many metaverse projects that they're so closed. You don't know what they're doing. You don't they're not, they only allow this one wallet because it's the developer's favorite. I think that the future is going to be very different. I think that when you become a metaverse developer, you just have to have an open mind for a lot of different kinds of things that you don't agree with, from a development side. So I think it's going to be exciting once we have more tools that make it easy to allow people to integrate all these different types of assets and blockchain into games. I think it'll be cool what can be built out of it.
yeah, and it sounds like you are the universe of the metaverse space, because I haven't heard of anyone that is really thinking in the way that you're thinking, wanting to, or that sees the metaverse as you do. That it's really about integrating all of the different protocols and spaces. Um, I haven't heard it explained that way. Really, if you're already here, people, and you've gotten a taste of the DMT world or the bitmap world, I'm not going to get into the controversy, but I don't think you're allowed to say that those words to each of those communities. It's weird because bitmaps and DMT, they kind of go together, but there's a little bit of controversy. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, yeah, always. Always.
They don't like each other. I've been in their back rooms. It gets pretty feisty. Oh my God. I don't even want to get into it. So it is kind of interesting that you're doing that, and trying to build the bridge. And even the fact that you mentioned Stamp, because nobody mentions Stamp when they're doing.
Nobody, no.
Yeah. Okay. Do you want to talk about that at all?
I'm a big fan of Mike in Space. I think as soon as I watched him hop on the whole stamps thing as soon as Ordinals launched, and I think that's really cool. He looked at the protocol that came out. He didn't like parts of it. He thought he could do better, and he did his own implementation. So I respect that. I respect just going. No, I think I could. Somebody makes something just like Ordinals, but he thinks it's better, whether you like ordinals or stamps or whatever protocol. I think that's really cool. And you have to not be the person who picks one and then goes with it your whole life and becomes like a maxi about it. It's just a weird thing to build your whole personality around your favorite meme protocol.
When you put it that way, right? You put it that way, sounds kind of like, hey, people, come on. It's not preschool, it's Bitcoin. Listen, hey, does somebody have a question? I know our audience is small, but you know what? This goes out on the YouTube, okay? People listen to this after. And I got to tell you, don't just go where the crowds are. Why? Because I saw a space yesterday, had 3,000 people in it. It led them over to roof Solana, and people were happy at the out the gate, and then later on in the day I think they were crying in their beer market. So it doesn't mean that you know the crowds are kind of where the next big thing is going to be. The next big thing sometimes is where nobody else is looking, where nobody else is kind of getting the information. And you just heard it today. We have a developer here that looks at the metaverse completely different. It's not a silo. It's a playground where everybody can participate. So if you have your assets on atomicals, if you have your assets on the taproot side of things, wherever you have your assets, you should be able to bring them into this wonderful interoperability space where we can all play.
Yes.
And that's what I'm hearing. Like, correct me if I'm wrong, because I kind of like to, give the kind of ABC 1, 2, 3, kind of break it down really simple. That's what I'm hearing, right?
Yeah, no, that's perfect. Yeah, exactly.
So, if somebody has a question, I think I see IB Token has muted his mic. But if you have a question, then please, step aboard here and ask a question, because we're gonna talk to BitTogether for a couple more minutes, and then we do respect your time, so we will kind of wrap things up. But yeah, if somebody has a question, please let me know, and then let's ask it. And if you're up to doing this again in the future, I kind of want you back, and I want to make sure that there's more people here so that they can hear this information, because I think this is great. What are some ways that we can get in touch with you specifically, and the project specific,
Sure.
and any things that we could do to support you? Okay, somebody's requesting to speak here. I'm going to approve them. Yeah, maybe you can do that, and then they'll probably have a question here.
Yep. I was just going to say we're still very early. The goal, the demo that I showed today is just some simple generative games like Snake, Amaze, and we're adding some other like Atari type games like Asteroid. And all of these games are based on your ordinal, your stamp, whatever your asset might be. The goal here is to build this up through using Unreal, Unity, and Godot. So I want to get into the Unreal store with this, so people can just easily download this and add this to their project. You're working on a Unity project. You go to their app store. You download, the Omni NFT integration, and then you'd be able to get started with a whole world of NFTs on multiple different chains, ETH, Solana, Bitcoin, all at once. And so that's why I'm so glad that you said we could come back, because this is something that you have to show, don't tell. You know what I mean? It's a middleware, and that can be a little tricky to demonstrate to people. So thank you for inviting me back on. I'll definitely be coming back on as we reach that point where we have a Unity project and we're in the Unity stores and we can show all that. So I appreciate it.
Absolutely. People, you have to shill. I am the shiller, okay, because I think it's so important. I found this particular quality amongst, I will say, many developers, especially the developers that I have been talking with. Very humble, okay, in the background, quietly building. There are a bunch of Steve Wozniaks, but you needed Jobs, okay? Jobs was not a developer; he was the marketer. Apple would be nowhere without the Jobs, okay? You needed the two Steves. You needed the Wozniak and the Jobs. So what am I trying to say here? You gotta shill, people. Do not be ashamed. You got to show. Hey, Bitcoin Ape, I see that you asked to speak. Please, sir, if you are here, unmute yourself and ask a question. And I do thank you for being here, because I know you love Stamp. And here you are in a space where we're talking BRC20.
GM, hey, Juliard, hello, BitTogether. Great to hear, this great Metaverse. I was thinking that Metaverse was dead. I'm kidding. But yes, great project that you are trying to get all together, all the meta protocol of Bitcoin. So it's quite huge. And congratulations for this project. And my question
Thank you.
is, about the metaverse. Uh, you are developing some games, etc. And would you offer any incentive to any people who will, get in the metaverse or playing the games? You know what I mean by incentive? Like winning some NFTs or some sats or anything like that.
Yeah, definitely. We're going to be doing some giveaways in our project, but one of the goals of the project is make it easy for any developer to implement that kind of system. If a developer wants to make it a system where they can issue an ordinal or a stamp, and it gives their character a different skin or something, things like that. That's the goal of this middleware, is to make that easy for developers to implement between a bunch of different chains.
It was great. Okay. And you told us that the project is, now is like kind of pilot right now, isn't it?
Yes, we're just getting it started. We're integrating a bunch of different wallets. That's a big part of it, is having people sign transactions, do message signing to prove that they own an address, and just integrating all these different wallets into one interface to make it easy. So a developer doesn't have to do what I did and learn each and every wallet that there is on the market.
Great. And will it be multi-language or only in English, or like Chinese, French, or Turkish, or
Def-
any other language?
Yes, definitely. I every time I name a part of it, or I introduce like a variable name in the code, I check to make sure that it doesn't mean something weird in another language, or it's not like the word
Yeah.
the, and so it's a weird edge case of language or something. So I try to be forward thinking on that stuff. As far as right now, we'll make sure we. I hope that the Unity store, the Unreal store, and the different sort of it's not point of sale because we're not charging, but at the point of download in the App Store, we're going to try to integrate as many languages as we can.
Cool. And will it be always free, or do you have any business model behind, or how? What would be the business model?
I think it's still kind of early for that. To know for certain. We're trying to be flexible, and it would be great if Facebook, now Meta, bought it and they integrated it into their metaverse, and then or they sold it as a product for other metaverse platforms, so that all the different metaverses could adopt all the different types of NFTs overnight.
Cool. Yeah. Yeah, great indeed. Yeah. So yes, good point. Yeah, indeed. Or maybe seller as well. Do you maybe seller with his Bitcoin development company that he developed? Maybe he could be interested about that kind of project.
Yeah. That's I think Trudy really hit on it, that there isn't a lot of interest in the metaverse, and rightfully so, because there's a lot of like selling you land in the metaverse and just half finished projects, asset
Yeah.
flips, stuff like that give it a bad name. And I think that we can fix that by making the tools. There's so many creative people out there who are just getting into game development. They're using AI in their game development for the first time, and there's going to be a whole generation of games built that way. And I'm really and I want to be a part of that and make it so that they can learn about NFTs and integrate those into their games,
Yeah.
and make the metaverse more like a metaverse and less like a video game with all these rigid walls that you can't
Yeah.
break through.
Great. Yeah, definitely. And of course, I think the narrative of metaverse will get back very strongly, because when you see the young generation, when I see my kids, or his friends, he's got like 10, 15, 5 years old, or even sometimes older, they're always, playing with Roblox. I think you know about that. Roblox is like a
Yes.
metaverse, kind of metaverse. They can create their own universe, even create their own games with few, knowledge in code. So yeah, basically, yeah, quite great. And also is you are doing it on on Bitcoin. So yeah, quite great. And I
Yes.
hope that more people will support you. And if you need any users, or kids trying to to play as well. So
Yes.
yeah, you are
We're
here
gonna
to
come
support.
back
Sure, sure.
here and we're going to keep showing demos as long as Trudy will have us, and
Cool.
we'll give you an opportunity to keep up with us as things
Welcome.
evolve. Um, you're totally right about Roblox. There's an artist I really like, Billy Callio, who does who makes a video game. Well, they've recreated the entire video game in Roblox, so you don't even have to buy. You know what I mean? Like, they loved this art so much, they rebuilt a whole universe in
Wow.
that art style. And there's just like, you're spot on that that's a real example of the metaverse. That's the kind of thing we want to enable. So I really, thank you for bringing up that example, because I totally, I've never played it because it's like a kid's game, but there's this really artistic niche artist, Billy Callio, who has a whole universe in there dedicated to them. So there are these interesting, little these little hidden worlds that only these kids know about. So thank you
Yeah.
for sharing that.
And quite addictive, by the way. With my kids now as well, I like to watch and play with them. So, yeah, I think yeah, quite good. But thank you very much, Big Together, for answering the question, and presenting your project. And hope to see you again, on Through the Art, and Universe space.
Thank you.
Good morning,
Cool.
good afternoon,
Katie
good
Riggs.
evening, whatever it is. Hi, Dee. How are you? Hello,
Good.
Bitcoin. Hi, everybody. Apologies for being late. I will definitely be going and getting this one on YouTube and catching the beginning. Had a bit of a wild morning, so
Aw.
I may have missed this. The metaverse. So I'm an avid collector of NFTs. I have been for 4 years. I have wallets that are overloaded, but also a lot of uh, people that produce them have, taken off, rugged, whatever it is, or they're still around, but you can't access them. So I've got probably 5 different, I bought a bar with a swimming pool. And there's and a basement and a this and a that, and they're all metaverse. And I had all of 5 minutes at the time when I bought them over time to go in and check them out, and you would be able to go in and put your art up on the walls and stuff like that. Is what you've done, would that be able to bring help me go back to any of those, or is that a totally different model? They're
Sure.
they're in my
That's
Loopring wallet. So some of them were in
yes.
GameStops. They're now sitting in my Loopring wallet.
Yes, Ethereum and Loopring are next on my roadmap now that we have all of these different Bitcoin protocols. So we can't turn on the servers that have been shut off for different NFTs that have rugged. With Bitcoin ordinals, everything is on chain,
Yes.
and so but so we can't bring them back if they've been deactivated on the creator side. But what we can do is allow you to use those in the things that we create and the projects. So, for example, if you follow that link, you can't do it with Loopring yet. But like I said, that's on our roadmap. We
Okay.
just added the Taproot wallet. You could, if you had a Taproot project that rugged, you could still use that in the couple of games that are on that page, and they use your. So you could imagine that you bought some land, and the server doesn't exist anymore.
Okay.
You could still use that in a game that recognizes that land, but it's not going to be like the original person who sold it to you.
Okay. Well, I never had a chance to do anything with them. I bought them for future use, and so I have no idea what they're supposed to be like, but I will certainly have a lot of fun with however they turn out. And my other question, so I'm in Spatial a lot, and we do a lot of fun things in Spatial. Is that kind of like a metaverse in a way?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think so. I have a spatial location, or I did a couple years ago. I don't know what's become of it, or if you need to renew each year, or how that works. But yeah, no, I thought that was a kind of interesting project, and so that's an example of sure, a metaverse. We want to make it more integrated with other things, though. We don't want it to be a tower where all of the content is so far away from everybody else's content, and it doesn't. That's one of the problems with spatial, is that if you set up a location for your business, for instance, how do you get a person to click on, if you're selling them real estate, how do you get, they don't have browsers and stuff integrated well. Like it's very hard to run a business from a spatial location. I don't think anyone's been able to really successfully do that.
Okay, so I'm not involved in any businesses, but with me coming from the GameStop marketplace into the Loop exchange, Loopring, we've got Lunar, for example, built a Yeah Boy Nancy racing game. It is the most phenomenal thing, and people from all over are going to join. They are seeking it out because of word of mouth. And you actually get to choose your vehicle, get in, race the tracks. He's made timers. We also go to dice. We play dice in Spatial, and they have got it set up. You go into different rooms in our dice ring place, and each artist has their room with their art and or their music. When you put on a VR headset, you can go through Spatial, and you can. I go in and I can roll my own dice with the VR headset on. It's mind blowing, considering there was none of this around long time ago, but it's phenomenal. You should really go in and check it out. Your place would probably be there. I don't Nothing has disappeared.
Yeah, I'll have to go check it out.
Yeah, so like
I
Boy
know everything
Nancy.
Nancy makes is awesome.
Yeah, like Boy Nancy. He has a room in there. He's got an apartment. Boy Nancy's first apartment. We go in there, and I mean, it's like, they would condemn it if it was in real life. It's hilarious. Other guys like Dice, he has made different virtual worlds in there. And then when you fall off the edge, you just go down and you start again. Like, it is amazing. Go and check out Game Ring. Go and check out Boy Nancy Racing by Lunar. Check this stuff out because it is, what they've done is just amazing. And I think you'd really enjoy that. There's my
Yeah, go
show.
check it out.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right. Thank you very much for your time. I'm looking forward to your next time you talk and seeing what I can do with some of this stuff that's sitting in my wallet down the road.
Cool, yeah.
Kate, thanks very much.
Pretty cool. Pretty cool. HNFT Pepe, you accepted the speaker. Did you want to jump in here?
Hey, what's going on, guys? I guess I didn't necessarily have a question, but since you brought me up, I'll ask a question. So kind of cool, bit together to hear about the metaverse. I'm a believer in the metaverse. I mean, I think it's a technology that when you really think about where gaming, AR, VR, and then you think about the younger generations and where they spend most of their time, and having witnessed some of that myself, like there's definitely a future for it, without a doubt. I mean, if you remember the last hype, I mean, I'm sure you do, but if everyone remembers the last hype cycle for metaverses, like it just wasn't ready. And if you think about it on a larger scale, if you compare it to, say, something like, I don't know, the dot-com bubble or whatever, like there was plenty of websites that just were nothing. They were scams. They were attempting to do something, and there was thousands of .coms that just went away. I think a similar thing happened with metaverses where, plenty of these projects were either scams or attempts, and they all just sort of went away. You even had Facebook rename itself to Meta. So yeah, it was early, but I think down the line, and look at where .coms are now versus, the bust. It's a future that I think will be around for sure. So it's pretty cool to hear that. It's also nice and refreshing to hear that you're going to be bringing in, other protocols and even other chains, because that's the future, in my opinion. I mean, I don't see, every layer 1 and every layer 2 being a part of this multi-chain future, but I'm sure there's going to be multiple. I just can't say which ones. The only one that I'm certain of and that I believe in personally, just personal standpoint, is Bitcoin. And even then, it hasn't been that long, but that's the one that I believe in, even though I do believe it'll be a kind of a multi-chain future. And the question I have is like, hey, I'm just a stupid artist. I don't know too much about technical stuff. Some of it fascinates me. It's interesting, and I like to learn a little bit about it. So I have a silly what if hypothetical question for you, just because I'm curious.
Right on.
If tomorrow, let's say, guess what? We're moving everything to Bitcoin. Everything, are going to be assets on Bitcoin, and your government passport, the will that you leave to your family and your kids, and
Sure.
that digital piece of art on Bitcoin that you paid 6 figures for, is going to go on Bitcoin. Okay, you need to decide. There's no ordinals, there's no runes, there's no atomicals, there's no stamps. Screw all them. They don't even exist. If you personally had to decide, it either goes into UTXOs or it goes into the witness data of Bitcoin. What would you choose and why?
Oh, well, if we're just trying to encode stuff in a way that they can't recognize the pattern of and remove, I would do it in the pay to script hash. So when you send Bitcoin, you pick an address where you're sending it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I would use that space to encode the data, because I think anything else is prunable and removable on like a data theory level. But if you encode it in like where you're sending the Bitcoin itself, they just have to keep that in the indexer. They can do stuff like checkpointing, and they could remove it that way, and then no one would have your data except the people that kept the checkpoints. Anyway, so
question, that wouldn't be UTXOs, that wouldn't be witness data.
It's when you say stored in UTXOs, like there still has to be a mechanism to mark that UTXO and mark what asset it is. Like Runes has rune stones, and then you can trade the asset because it's bound to the UTXO. So I guess I'm saying I would bind it to a UTXO, but it's what method do you bind it to that UTXO, I guess. Anyway,
Okay.
sorry.
No, I'm just curious, because I have art on stamps, I have art on ordinals. I kind of have a preference to stamps just because, I read what's out there that is somewhat non-biased, I think, from articles on that Binance, KuCoin, Bitcoin News, CoinMarketCap, BingX, OKX, they all put out articles comparing, for example, stamps to ordinals. And all of them seem to, in some way, shape, or form, conclude that stamps to some varying degree seem to be more permanent. And the only reason, like from an artist perspective, that somewhat interests me, and from a collector, because I collect a little bit as well, is like, well, if it's just a little more permanent, if you don't want to say it is 100%, permanent, if it's a little more permanent, it's kind of interesting to me. And then as an artist, like this new style that has kind of taken form called compressionism, where with stamps, you were initially like, you were held to like 6 to 7 KB. And then it got extended to 65 KB because they went with the Olga method, which is from 2014, JP Jensen's method. And it was extended to 65 KB. It's kind of a cool challenge as an artist to try to fit your art in that, whether it's through pixels, through SVGs, HTML, whatever it is. And there's just a little bit inside me from a personal standpoint that's like, okay, cool. Like knowing that this is probably at this very day, like the most permanent way to put your art on Bitcoin. Like there's something about that just excites me. So I don't know. That's
definitely. I totally agree with you. I personally consider it a sort of feature of ordinals that they can be pruned. So if a node wants to say, "Hey, I hate ordinals. Get out of here. That's not Bitcoin. I only like Bitcoin before you did this." You know what I'm talking about. So they can just turn on pruning, and all of a sudden, it's not on their node. And so I guess I always saw that as a positive, but you're right, from an artist's perspective and the person storing the data, the other thing with stamps is they pay for that privilege. So with ordinals, you get the SegWit discount, whereas I think with stamps, I think you don't. And so you're paying extra for that little bit of extra storage. But one of the side effects is, what if that makes the node runners mad and then they actively filter you? So the fact that ordinals can be removed at the flick of a switch, it's almost like that's the psyop. Like, I could remove them. I guess I won't. I could easily remove them. Whereas with stamps, he's making a statement like, Mike in Space is saying, you will store this. We went out of our way to pay to store this in a way you can't get rid of without breaking the back traceability of the chain in some way. So it's, it's different game theory approaches. I always thought Bitcoin was a better privacy coin because it didn't try to be a privacy coin. You don't want the privacy coin label. You don't want the attention. You don't want the bad reputation. You want all of the privacy with none of the attention. And I guess so. Anyway, But yeah, if it's like which is better, which is more immutable, I'll give it to Mike in Space. His protocol is the better. Like from a data theory, Luke Dash Jr. is really upset, and Knots is coming for your JPEGs. It's definitely the more immutable. He wins out on that one. So totally agree, man.
Cool, man. I appreciate it. And again, it's not even a protocol thing. It's just because I'm curious, because I do want to learn about it. Because if you think about UTXOs versus assets versus witness data, I'm just curious, and I just want to know, because some of the first UTXO assets were, there was a fake rare called Permanent that there was a dev/artist that created. There was JP Jensen that created Olga, back in 2014, and those aren't part of the stamp protocol, but the fact that they were put into UTXO, they became UTXO assets on Bitcoin, and that's I guess the most permanent or immutable way to put assets on Bitcoin. That's where my interest lies, and it's not even a protocol thing. It's interesting and cool to get the perspective from somebody who's obviously more tech savvy and a dev and a builder. But I appreciate it, man. Thanks.
Yeah, and I think JP Jensen was the person who did the method I described. They were like they made a whole protocol out of inscribing in that address space and doing that. So I think we're probably talking about similar methods, but I don't think Jensen made their own protocol out of that. It was just like a dev toy.
No, and that's what stamps are now. They now use that JP method.
Okay.
So that's
cool.
kind of cool. That's how we increased to 65 KB, and and now we're doing recursive. So sky's kind of the limit on that. But initially they were a limit of 6 to 7 KB, and it wasn't the Olga method that was being used. It was still sitting in the multi-sig UTXO, but it's now the JP method. So cool.
Okay, nice.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for clarifying that. I don't know as much about stamps as I do about some of these other Bitcoin things, so I appreciate it.
That was cool. I was like so drawn in. I forgot where I was. I'm like, man, I love this. What's he gonna say next? That is pretty awesome. Is there anybody else that wants to jump in and ask a question? Because we have gone through quite a bit, and you've heard it today, people. The metaverse is it's not one-dimensional. It's not even 2D. It's beyond that. The metaverse is for everyone. It's for all of our assets, and it's for interoperability. So you can take your JPEGs with you wherever you go. So BitTogether, I'm so appreciative of you. You're very humble. You're very knowledgeable, like seriously. And you didn't come to smack us with the knowledge. I love that you just came here to share that knowledge and, to let us know that if we want to become a part of the metaverse that you're going to build for us. And it is interesting, that you're doing it very quietly, but very powerfully. I can say that. So I really appreciate it. I want to thank you and ask you for any closing words, anything that you'd like to just share with us as we are about to close out. And definitely want to have you back, and we will pump it up and make sure that we get more people in the space, especially now that we know that you're building for us, the people.
Thanks, Trudy. I just wanted to say thanks for having me on, and thanks to Universe Wallet for giving us the stage today, and everybody who showed up. We're just trying to make tools for builders to build metaverse projects and make that easier, and kind of normalize that, and just build cool stuff on Bitcoin. I think I'm finally, thanks to Bitcoin, I'm in a place where I can build stuff like this that I think is cool and explore, video games. I think video games are the key to, I think that's how, computer spread in the 90s and stuff is through video game technology and the PlayStation, everything else. It just gets people interested in technology in a way that I think is really important to adoption and the evolution of that technology. I think that's the secret ingredient is gaming. So it's exciting. It's a privilege to be able to work in that space. Thank you for letting us talk about it a little bit today.
Yeah, and thank you for integrating the Universe wallet. That is pretty cool that you jumped on that pretty quickly. And we are now a part of that opportunity, so you can connect your Universe wallet. People, we're going to close out, okay? This is going on the YouTube. You can probably get this show once it's been edited here, and you can find out all of the great stuff that we talked about. I'm going to do a final shill for the day. Why not? Because you can tell a friend, hey, yeah, you can. Let's just keep the shilling to the BRC20 related, because that's what we were talking about today, is the BRC20 protocol. What are we doing in the universe? Yeah, we have some tools, and we have some opportunities for you. One of the opportunities right now is a pre-sale. Yeah, it's a pre-sale. If you head over to tapwallet.io, I mentioned it at the beginning, I'll mention it at the end. Go to tapwallet.io, hit tools, okay? You got tools. And then you hit pre-sale, come over to BRC20, and there's a pre-sale of a new symbol. Yeah, symbols are a thing, I guess. They are. And so if you're wanting to jump into this opportunity, because it's not a promise, it's an opportunity, then you can. So the pre-sale allocates 100% of the total BRC20 token supply. Distribution will be completed within 72 hours after the pre-sale concludes. And you can see that you've got about 7 days to get in on this pre-sale. So go to tapwallet.io, click tools, head over to pre-sale BRC20, and then you can get more information about it. I can tell you right now that quite a bit of people have jumped in already, because it just I guess it got released this morning. And you can pay for this in BTC or in Solana. What is Solana doing here, by the way? Hey, I guess you have to give the people what they're asking for. So there you go. Listen, I want to thank BitTogether again for coming out here, for repping the space of BRC20 Metaverse, giving us a better vision of what that is, and telling us that we can all be included into the Metaverse. Our assets that are in our wallet are going to be welcomed. They don't have to pass a protocol test. That is pretty cool. Yes, it is. Because we should be able to invest in Bitcoin, in any protocol, and we should be able to bring those assets with us anywhere we want to go. Hey, Bitmap people, if you ever come in here and listen to that, take a little bit of a clue here, okay? Thank you, everybody. I always play us out with a song. The DJ today, I don't know what was going on, but I'm going to try to play us out with a song. Thank you very much. We'll be back Tuesday. What are we going to do Tuesday? We're going to have All in the Family. Yeah, everybody's protocol gets to come here, and we get to shill and tell us what's happening in Atomical, BRC20, Stamp, the whole works. Thanks, guys. Have a great weekend. Thank you for coming back to Bitcoin. Thank you for coming back to the universe. So once again, have a super duper day, and thank you, BitTogether. You have been incredible. Appreciate you.
3D art, you rock.